about starting with a legend? Mm-hmm. No, not you, Smitty or Billy. Sorry, but a real one. Sorry, we get an opportunity to welcome in the longtime voice, and I love the fact that after the game they were like, "We got to win one more. We can't." Ralph Lawler, we cannot be done just yet. And I want to start with that. First of all, welcome. What does it mean to you? And can you try and describe the feeling of when you hear the players on this team unprovoked referencing the fact that one of the joys they're having about this series continuing is that you continue with it?
Well, it's a thrill, Casey, to tell you the truth. I just turned 81 years old, and here these guys in their early 20s or early 30s, in the case of Lou Williams, relating to this old guy. This is a special group of young men, which is one of the reasons that this team, I think, has done as well as it's done. They not only have bonded, but they care about each other. They've just very, very cohesive, and they've got a common goal, and they realize the big picture, and they narrow it down to the small picture of each game and go out, and 9 times out of 10, they play their absolute hardest and their absolute best, and that's how they won 48 games with a team that was outmanned night after night. But they're a pleasure to be around, and if you're going to have to kind of orchestrate your final dance, this has been a great way to do it.
I was going to say, even though you haven't exchanged suits, I don't think with the other broadcast. If you have, let me know. Like D. Wade was doing. They say, Ralph, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. It is a pretty good finish. Is this as fun a group in terms of the way that they play, the heart, the fact that there's that togetherness, even in an individualistic kind of a society we live with athletes? I mean, how much fun are you having being able to be a part of this and call these games?
Well, I really echo what the fans were saying after Game 5. I had so many fans say, that's the most fun I've ever had watching a Clipper game ever. This is the most fun we've ever had watching a Clipper team ever. And, for so many years with the Big Three group, expectations were so darn high. Everybody thought they're going to compete for a championship. Never got past the second round of the playoffs, so every year ended in heartbreak and disappointment. This year, everybody thought maybe they'll win 30, 35 games. They wind up with 48. Everybody thought, well, okay, yeah, they're going to get in the playoffs. They'll lose to Golden State in 4 games. It'll be an easy sweep. And here we are in Game 6. So every single win has been a little special joy attached to it. The fans have loved it. The players have loved it. Doc Rivers said he's never had this much fun coaching in his entire 20-year NBA career, and I echo all of that. It just is a great way to go out. I'm thrilled to death, and I can't wait for tonight and for Sunday and for the next series beyond.
Hey, Ralph, this is Billy King. You've had a 6-year career, 40 with the Clippers. Can you reflect back on the first game that you did for the Clippers and tell me a little bit about that night?
No. that was in October of 1978, for crying out loud. I don't recall what happened the last week of the regular season. But the thing was, it was in San Diego, and the team had moved in from Buffalo that year. Gene Shue, who I worked with in Philadelphia when I was doing 76 games with the coach, so that was a little bit of familiarity, which was nice. And they brought some players in from Philadelphia, Joe Jellybean Bryant and World Be Free. So there was some familiar faces around from my days in Philadelphia. It was a lot of fun. And that team, like this one, nobody expected anything because that last Buffalo team was absolutely awful. And a part of the trade that brought the team to San Diego, Boston gave them all their bad players to help fill out the Clipper roster, and nobody thought they were going to win anything. They wound up winning, I think it was 43 games and lost 39 that year, just missed the playoffs by a game or two in the final couple of games of the season. So the season was a lot of fun. Game 1, I haven't got a clue.
Ralph, Steve Smith, my question is looking at your career with the Clippers, you only missed 3 games. Is there any advice and what was the technique to be so, I would say, consistent? And then also, maybe you don't remember your first game. I'm going to ask a different question. What's your favorite game you've ever called?
Well, the one the other night's very, very close to it because it was so filled with joy for all 48 minutes. The guys played so well. But the one that kind of jumps out for me was a few years ago in the first round of the playoffs. Clippers, again, going against the defending world champions, the San Antonio Spurs. And it gets down to a 7th game, and it gets down to a final possession of a tie game. And Chris Paul made a drive and a score over Tim Duncan to win the game, end the series, and advance into the second round. That moment certainly does stand out. But it's been a great run, Steve. We had a season, we won 13 games and lost 69. I enjoyed all 82. So when it comes to NBA basketball, I'm a bad guy to ask because I've never seen a bad game.
Well, the question is, Ralph, on the way out here, are we seeing you Game 7?
Well, Game 7, I think, is of a real likelihood. I guess the Clippers are 10.5-point underdogs here tonight, but they were 14.5 under in the game 5, so they're making progress from that standpoint. But I guarantee you, everybody in the Clipper locker room right now is as determined and as convinced that they can beat this basketball team on this court on this night as anybody in the Golden State locker room is. A lot of people say Clippers have nothing to lose. They're playing with house money. The Clippers have a lot to lose. They can lose their season. It'll be over if they lose this game tonight. They do not want to lose in the first round. They want to advance to the second round against the Houston Rockets. Only way you do that is to win this game tonight. These guys have not won at home in this series. Last 4 games are won by the road team, oddly enough. But the Clippers have never lost 3 home games in a playoff series in their previous 18 playoff runs. So they are convinced tonight's going to be the night. The ball starts to fall, and they start moving the basketball right, play solid defense, rebound the basketball, and beat these guys. The fun part would be to go to Oakland and let the Houston Rockets get back on the airplane and go back to Houston.
Hey, Ralph, I'll tell you what, guaranteed determination with this team, I think it's pretty safe. I don't know about Clay's 30-point thing, but I feel like this one's going to work. In all seriousness, appreciate it, man. An honor and a pleasure to get a chance to chat with you before a game like this. Thanks so much.
My pleasure, guys. Thanks a lot.